Welcome, my friends, to a new episode of TOEFL Insider. This is Shadi Abu Yusuf, and today we're going to talk about reduced adverb clauses. And let's start this by an example where we can see an adverb clause in action. And here we are. My working colleagues now pay an extra 3% for retiree health care, although they are not guaranteed to get health care after retirement. Now, the adverb clause in the highlighted part, although they're not guaranteed to get health care after retirement. And in order to reduce this adverb clause, all what we need to do is to leave the adverb connector as is and remove both the subject and verb to be. So the sentence reads as follows. My working colleagues now pay an extra 3% for retiree health care, although not guaranteed to get health care after retirement. Now another example. Let's read it together. Remind yourself that you'll get to enjoy that food again when you're hungry. And the adverb clause in the highlighted part, when you're hungry. Now, in order to reduce it, all what you need to do is leave the adverb connector and drop both the subject and verb to be, so the clause becomes when hungry. Now, let's read the whole sentence. Remind yourself that you'll get to enjoy that food again when hungry. Now, someone might say, Shadi, what if we don't have verb to be? Will reduction be possible? And the answer is yes. Let me show you how. Let's have a look at the following example. Although he works on a fish farm, he has never eaten farmed fish. Now, the adverb clause is although he works on a fish farm. And in order to reduce it, we will leave the adverb connector as usual, and we will turn the verb into the ing form. So the clause will be, although working on a fish farm. And the whole sentence will read as follows. Although working on a fish farm, he has never eaten farmed fish. Now another example. Let's read it together. When you leave your child alone with someone, they should have some sort of knowledge in first aid. And the adverb clause is when you leave your child alone with someone. And to reduce it, we leave the adverb connector in place. And the verb leave becomes leaving. So the sentence reads as follows. When leaving your child alone with someone, they should have some sort of knowledge in first aid. Now, how can adverb reduced clauses be tested in the TOEFL ITP exam? Let's have a look at this MCQ. She's forced to sing even when. And we have four choices. A, be sick and tired. B, she's sick and tired. C, sickness and tiredness. And D, sick and tired. Now, in order to approach this question, the first thing you should think about is the adverb connector. And in this scenario, it is when. And after this connector, you have only two options, either a complete clause or a reduced one. When we think about answer A, we see that it is not complete and there is no subject and it's not reduced as well, because in reduced clauses, verb to be is dropped. So A is not a good answer. Let's go to B. And again, this is not a complete clause. There is no verb and it is not reduced as well because the subject she is still there. So B is not a good answer. When we think about answer C, all what we have is sickness and tiredness, which can be a subject, but nothing else. So this is not reduced or complete. Now, what we have is the remaining answer and the only accurate answer, which is D, as it is the reduced form of the clause when she is sick and tired. When you leave the adverb connector and drop both the subject and verb to be, the sentence reads as follows. She's forced to sing even when sick and tired. Now, a point that is worth mentioning. Some adverb clauses can be reduced in active and passive structures. And these are when, if, unless, whether, although, and though. And these can be reduced regardless of whether the structure is active or passive. Some adverb clauses can only be reduced in active structures, such as the time adverbs after, before, since, and while. Some other adverb clauses can be only reduced in passive structures, like once, until, whenever, where, wherever, as. So let's have a look at the following chart. And as we see, we have three types of adverb connectors. Those you can reduce the clauses all the time, like when, if, unless, whether, although, and though. Those reduced only in the active structures, like after, before, since, while. And those reduced only in the passive form, like once, until, whenever, where, wherever, and as. Now, time to check some sentences together and see whether they are accurate or not. And let's start with this one. If interested in hearing me out, why don't we find some place a little more private to talk? And as usual, we have if, which is an adverb connector. And we know that it can be followed by either a complete clause, subject plus verb, or a reduced clause in passive, which means we need a past participle. So this is an accurate sentence because if is followed by the past participle interested, which is a reduced clause from if you are interested. Now another example. I've gotten so fat since quit gymnastics. And in this sentence, we have the time adverb since, which can be followed by either a complete clause, subject plus verb, or a reduced clause in the active structure. Because we don't have a subject after since, so it's not a complete clause, because the verb quit is not in the ing form, so it is not accurately reduced as well. And this makes this sentence incorrect. And an accurate version of it will be, I've gotten so fat since quitting gymnastics. Another sentence, talent finds its way to the light no matter where located. Again, where is an adverb connector that should be followed by either a complete clause or a reduced clause in the passive structure. And when we look at the sentence, where is not followed by a subject, so it's not followed by a complete clause. This means that we have only one option left, a reduced clause in a passive structure. And obviously, located can be the past participle for this structure. So the sentence is correct, and before reduction, it will sound like, talent finds its way to the light no matter where it is located. Another sentence. Federal law already requires licensed dealers to conduct background checks before sell firearms. When looking at this sentence, we see the adverb connector before, and this means that we expect either a complete clause or a reduced one in an active structure. And because before is not followed by a subject, so this is not a complete clause. Now, when we look at the verb that directly follows the adverb connector, we see that it is in the base form, which means that it is inaccurately reduced, because in reduction, the verb sell should be in the ing form. So an accurate version of this sentence would be, federal law already requires licensed dealers to conduct background checks before selling firearms. So ladies and gentlemen, we came to the end of this episode of TOEFL ITP Insider. Don't forget to like, share and comment on this video. This was Shadi Abu Yusuf, and bye bye for now.